happy April 1st, everybody, and welcome to Mix at 3.
And it's Monday. Welcome.
Yes,
it's Monday.
Yes, it's Monday.
Yay.
It is April Fool's Day, too. I'm not pulling any April Fool's jokes on anybody.
Me neither.
Hopefully nobody will do that to me. Okay. So I'm you and me, we're not doing that.
We're good. We're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we get 30 minutes is a long time to do something. I'm just going ahead and throwing that out at you.
But can you believe it's April already?
No, I really can't. I mean,
Masters next week and spring break.
Here comes golf week. Yeah. Did you have a good Easter? Is the question for everybody. Did you have a good Easter?
I did, yeah. So we went to church Sunday morning, and then I went to some Brazilian, we got together, our Brazilian friends, went to one of our friends' house, and everyone cooked something. I did we call it a kind of a shrimp stew. And I think I have pictures to show all the food that we ate. That was just the appetizers. And then we have
Okay, I've been at your house before, and the appetizers is an actual full course.
That was the lunch, yeah. You see that big pan, the black one? That was the stew that I had. And if you can see the line, it was very, people ate a lot of the food, so it went down the liquid from the stew. But,
I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, it is massive whenever you guys have a get together.
Yeah, so we need some time after we eat to kind of digest everything, and the Europeans like to do the siesta. But yeah, and then we have the egg hunt with the kids in the backyard. So it was a lot of fun.
Okay,
we got a good time. Yeah.
The girls found the eggs.
They found the eggs. They found the golden egg.
Oh, they found a golden egg. Oh.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. How was the weekend?
The weekend was all right. You know, I went to Aiken on Saturday, and we had service for a friend who's no longer with us, and then went to. My wife has her own cleaning business. We went and had a birthday party with one of her clients, and got to meet a lot of them. I must have answered the "What happened to your arm?" 150 times on Saturday just alone, but
by now with the shows, I think probably 1,000 times.
Yeah, probably around 1,000 times now. So, but yeah, and then Sunday actually we both got up early, and we kind of just do a little thing that we do. I live in North Augusta, right by the bridge, so we got up and we walked up to the 13th Street Bridge and we watched the sunrise, and it was a beautiful sunrise morning on Sunday. To enjoy and check
Very
out.
cool.
But then just relax and enjoy the rest of the day.
Very
so
cool.
Yeah, back in action now too. So ready to roll into a whole new week, and then like we said, golf week is right around the corner as well too. So batten down the hatches, everybody.
Yes.
Get ready.
Get ready. And you know what? I saw this today. A new report shows 1 in 6 American adults are considered binge drinkers. So you might see a lot of binge drinkers during golf weeks.
Oh, yeah.
The University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute published its annual report based on 2021 information. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention defines binge drinking as 4 or more drinks in one sitting for a woman and 5 or more among men. Women are considered heavy drinkers if they consume 8 or more drinks in a week, while men would have to knock back 15 or more drinks in a week.
Now, the study also issued rankings for the places with the heaviest drinking problems. Wisconsin, that was actually ranked number 1, followed by the District of Columbia, Montana, North Dakota, and Iowa. Now, while drinking is a problem in some localities, researchers also found 19 states lowered their excessive drinking rates between 2020 and 2021. I kind of find that that last part is a little surprising to me. I think a lot of people, as far as binge drinking and just drinking in general, that obviously probably hit an all-time high during the pandemic.
Oh, yes.
You got cabin fever, you're going crazy, being stuck at the house, stuck with your families, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I started drinking more during COVID. I mean, a lot of people did, and a lot of people pulled back too. But yeah, I can see that between those dates. Definitely. Those are correct numbers, I would think.
Yeah, yeah. No, now we are moving on to Spain.
Okay. So now, what are we talking about that?
Okay, so the Sagrada Familia, that's how to say. So Barcelona's famous La Sagrada Familia is set to be completed in 2026, finally.
Oh, wow.
A landmark more than 140 years in the making. So Barcelona's La Sagrada Familia is one of the world's greatest wonders, despite never actually being finished. A constant work in progress, it was designed by the legendary architect Antoni Gaudí.
By the time of Gaudi's death in 1926, only a quarter of the building had been completed. Can you imagine the overtime for this thing? Yes. Slowed down by Civil War and then all sorts of historic building codes that they had to pass. Now officials are saying that in 2026, 144 years since construction began back in 1882, the basilica will finally be completed. Check that out.
Yes.
Now, to think about this, to put this into perspective, how many generations of workers have been working on this one project?
Yes, yeah. I've never been to Barcelona. It's on my bucket list, but I've seen many pictures from friends and the internet, and there's always the cranes in the top of the basilica. Yeah. And so when are they going to finish? And when they finally said it in 2026, I think they should do a huge celebration, and tourism is going to be through the roof.
I would think so. And just think about some of the original material that they used from 1882 and now 2026. I mean, it's literally going to be a bridge from the past to the present.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's very easily done with that. All right, coming up, we're going to be showing you some easy STEM activities that you can do with your kids at home next week on spring break. That's next here on Mix at 3. Well, spring break is right around the corner, and this week-long vacation for students, well, it often leaves parents in a bind trying to figure out how to keep their kids entertained every day.
That's right. We spoke with mom and educator LJ Henderson, who showed us an easy activity parents can do at home to introduce their kids to important science, math, and tech concepts.
All right, we are joined by Dean of Instruction with Little STEM Academy. It's educator and mom LJ Henderson. Hi, LJ. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. You know, STEM activities, fun stuff to do over the spring break holiday. You know, you have a little genius there. Chandler Hughes, 6 years old, already admitted to Mensa, attending the Little STEM Academy. How did he benefit from early STEM learning?
So he actually benefited from early STEM learning because our students are exposed to degree professional in most instances. Our students actually learn alongside engineers and medical students on a daily basis. So as opposed to a traditional childcare program where there's only an early childhood instructor, we actually bring in skilled professionals to work with our students. Even our coding students are learning from a computer scientist. Now, Chandler has since graduated from our program, and he is going on to do bigger and better things.
That's amazing.
All that at 6 years old.
I know, right? So, LJ, how does this STEM education encourage critical thinking, problem solving, and analytical skills?
So pretty much any time that a child is involved in an experiment, they are problem solving. A lot of times if they try something and it doesn't work, they have to reverse engineer it and actually redo the experiments a lot of times. So they're learning to problem solve by sometimes just doing simple chemistry experiments. They're learning to problem solve by doing engineering experiments with their friends. And they're also learning to work collaboratively. Those are some of the soft skills that kids sometimes miss out on, because we have a lot of students that are really intelligent, but sometimes they suffer socially. So what we try to do at the Little STEM Academy is to have project-based learning where they're working with the team to build a project or to build a bridge or to actually do a blood compatibility experiment, which I'll be demonstrating later.
Okay, and how can those STEM activities continue to foster this creativity?
So pretty much STEM activities will continue to foster the creativity, because once a child actually creates something with their own hands, then it kind of encourages them to say, hey, I can do it. A lot of times kids go to school and parents may not see those projects come home, but we give them a lot of hands-on things where they can actually take home. For example, our students were able to use recycled materials to build their own robots, and the families really got engaged with that. They actually helped with those projects. It almost became very competitive. I had grandpas come coming in, doing things with tin cans and all kinds of stuff. So it was a great thing for the families to do. And they are learning together. The parents are learning alongside their students a lot of times.
I could barely tie my shoes at 6 years old. And they're talking about the kids are building robots.
Everybody's learning, you see, even the parents. That's awesome. So, okay, what are some easy projects that viewers can do at home with their kids?
So one of the things that Chandler really loved to do, we actually did real dissections with our medical students. So they got to dissect organs. But a simple thing that a parent can do, I know it's about to be springtime. You may have food coloring at home. One thing that you can do is blood compatibility. So let me ask you a question. Do you know the 4 blood types?
Yes.
O, A, B, and AB.
Yes. So there are A, B, and O. So
Yeah.
those are the four blood types. So there's positive and negative. So we could say that there's 8, but there's 4 main blood types.
Right.
We test blood compatibility by looking to see if the chemicals change colors. So this represents blood type A. This is B. That's AB. That's O. Which one is a universal donor?
O.
Yeah.
Right.
O is a universal donor. So when you look at the liquids, all of them have color except for O. So if I poured O into any of these, the color stays the same. So the students learn those blood types are compatible because the color doesn't change. But can O donate to B? Let's see. No, the blood type changed. So
See that?
they cannot actually give blood. But A could give to another A. A could give to AB. The color really doesn't change. Can B give to O? No. You see the blood type changes. So student learns visually blood compatibility because if the chemicals stay the same color, we know those blood types are compatible. If they change, you realize that they are not compatible.
Okay, that's excellent. Great idea
That is
and
so
a great
cool.
thing to do with
Yes.
kids during spring break. LJ, what's some
Let me explain. So this one is just simple food coloring. It's red, blue, and then this one is a combination of red and blue and then just clear. And it's just water in the cups, and I label the cups.
That's
save
so cool.
that Easter egg dye if you have some left over, and you can do this experiment at home.
Very
All right.
nice.
And what final advice do you have for parents where they can go to get more information on STEM education, LJ?
They can actually go to littlestemlab.com. We actually have a downloadable experiment for them. There's actually 4 experiments that they could try at home, and they can actually begin doing ice cream with their students. They could do a rain cloud in a jar experiment, and they can also do this lava lamp experiment, which I'm demonstrating now. As you see, I'm using kitchen things that you may find in your kitchen. It could be canola oil, vegetable oil, avocado oil. I'm going to just put 1 drop of food coloring in here. Then if you go into your medicine cabinet, you may have some Alka-Seltzer in your medicine cabinet. Watch and see what happens when you use these common household objects to actually experiment with your student. I want you to see what's happening.
Do it with your parents, kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can go to
boom.
littlestemlab.com to learn how to do this experiment and many, many more.
That's perfect.
Very
So
nice.
this is called a lava lamp experiment.
Very cool. She is Dean of Instruction for Little STEM Academy, LJ Henderson. LJ, thanks for the tips and also the cool tricks. Appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
All right, life after COVID. For millions of Americans, it's a daily struggle, both physically and mentally. Coming up, we take a look at what can be done to get your life back post-COVID. That's next on Makes It 3.
Well, 3 years on, and millions are still dealing with COVID, not just physically, but emotionally too. In fact, as we are about to see, the numbers of depressive or anxiety disorders are staggering.
Dr. Jessica Britt Thomas is Director of Integrated Behavioral Health in the Department of Family and Community Medicine at MCG Wellstar, and she stopped by to talk about this topic and what can be done. Dr. Jessica Britt Thomas, thank you for joining us here today to talk about, again, an issue that affects millions and millions of people about here. Let's talk about post-COVID life and the impacts of the mental health conditions because of that.
Yeah. Well, overall, we found that there were alarming rates global and then also kind of U.S. based, right? So globally, we found a 26% increase in reports of anxiety and depression particularly. When we talk more U.S. based, we found that during 1 year past COVID, or the initial kind of onset of COVID, there was a 5% increase in people reporting anxiety symptoms and also depression. And we also identified particularly that the individuals who were having job concerns, the youth, and then women were reporting higher rates of anxiety directly related to the COVID impact, pandemic, and the changes and everything that we were going through at the time.
And just by you saying this, I see so many examples in my mind, like friends and family. Yes, so it really affected a lot of people.
Absolutely.
It did, and it was gradual. It wasn't something that we knew about earlier on, and that's why research and data collection kind of went throughout and even present day.
Right. And Dr. Jessica, what impact did COVID have on social interactions?
Yeah, so we know about social anxiety disorder. It's a mental health condition that's marked by kind of intense anxiety and fears around social settings, particularly with the perception of being negatively perceived by others. And so people tend to just outright avoid social gatherings. So what do we know about what happened in COVID? We all lived it, right? We had quarantines, lockdowns, school, work closures, distancing, and then non-essential avoidance of social interaction. So that kind of fueled people who already were struggling with social anxiety, that fueled their symptoms even more. It is important to also note that only people who were already experiencing social anxiety prior to the pandemic reported an increase in social anxiety after or during. And then those that were actually actively being treated, so they were seeing a therapist or taking, whatever medications or interventions, they did not report an increase. So we're talking a specific small group of people that struggled with social anxiety during the pandemic.
So we could actually be looking at a larger number for the people that didn't report this.
That is true. That is true. And there is always the error or the mishap of people not reporting altogether.
Let's talk about transitioning out of quarantine and life post-COVID. Let's talk about the impacts for that on that social anxiety.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us, including myself, kind of immediately got excited. Hey, we're going to go back to normalcy. And that's just not what happened, right? We found that the resocialization, just that initially kind of coming back together, us sitting this close together, right away.
Is this 6 feet?
This is, I don't know. It caused an acute kind of distress for those who were already struggling with impacts around that. A lot of it was the threat of containing or contracting the virus, spreading it. And just not also understanding how to engage with social peers because there had been such an isolation for some time. CDC did a poll survey, a household survey, and found that college students in particular who jumped right into high frequency engagement, so that's kind of just starting doing extracurricular activities, nightlife, reported a temporary increase in social interactions or social anxiety in interactions. And then those who primarily communicated via email, we call that character communication, and as opposed to video, telephone, or in-person meetings, also reported difficulties with that reintegration once restrictions were eased.
I'm a hugger. So then the day
you weren't during COVID.
I wasn't. And the day I said, oh, I can hug people back again, I was so happy. Yeah. So you've been on Morning Mix or Mix at 3, you know that I'm a hugger.
Yes.
And people would still go,
I was going to say, nowadays you kind of still have to make sure it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm a hugger as well, and I've noticed I can't just do that automatically anymore. I have to make sure that they're okay with that.
Exactly.
And that's also changed. Touching has changed.
A lot, yeah. So let's talk now about the positive implications of COVID on mental health.
Yeah. So we talked about the bad, but there were some positive things, particularly around treatments, right? So during the pandemic, some of the guidelines were lifted and flexed. So AU providers, particularly licensed based in Georgia, we were able to provide telehealth services to South Carolina residents across the state lines, which was something you could not do prior. We also had the invention of telehealth, which is not new, but it became kind of like a primary modality of telehealth, telemedicine, and you're probably still experiencing some of that now. That's offered with your providers as an alternative option if you can't come in, and it's very popular. We saw school-based programs. As we mentioned earlier, youth had an increase in some anxiety and depression. There was also kind of suicide as well, which we didn't get into too much today. But school-based programs were developed that were centered around early detection and preventative measures, providing resources and options for our students. And we had the 988 crisis line. I've talked about that a couple times before, and that came directly through COVID, ways to be able to find people to interact or be able to touch them if they are not able to come in physically. So that was developed in 2022. And then more access to substance use treatments in particular.
Yeah.
It's always good to end on a positive note,
Yes.
even for a serious subject like this. But
Yeah.
there is light at the end of the tunnel.
There
thankfully.
is, and we're still using a lot of those techniques now, so it's been great.
All right, good, great information to share. Dr. Jessica Britt Thomas, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Hey, 3 years on, and we're still dealing with it.
That's right.
And we will for a while. Still to come, we're bringing you the latest on entertainment news. Mix It 3 continues next.
Oh, well, when you have hard, tough news to deliver, you might think, like, how do we do this in an effective way? Should we start little by little or just go and tell everybody? So here I come. Today is my last day here at News 12, and it's been a pleasure to work with you and everybody back there. But yeah, I'm moving to Australia to be closer to my sister.
What am I supposed to say to this?
I don't know. Yeah. I've enjoyed our time together, but
I say that's well played. That's as long as you've kept a straight face, I can tell you that.
well, yours too.
Okay.
And that's how you prank your co-host, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Happy April Fool Day.
And April 2nd will be The Revenge. So it gives me a little time to get planned as well, too. So, okay.
This was probably the lightest one because when I was Googling how to prank your coworker,
Really?
Gosh, they had some tough ones. And I was
there's-
like, no, I'm not that brave to do that with you on camera.
Yeah, we have regulations now that we have to follow that we can't do some of these things that we used to be able to do.
Yes.
And I used to throw some zingers out there as well.
Yeah.
I freely admit it when I was in radio.
And
you
we
hear
have
some
a
crazy things.
one-armed man here, so I can do,
Yeah, that's just mean.
That would be
Okay.
too mean. Yes. Yeah.
I got nothing for you there. All right, congratulations. I'll help you move. Okay. First of 4 on the way. Investigate TV Plus is next.
Thanks for watching.